Hey guys, here on Voice Gangstalking. I wanted to talk about some more tactics, of course, but before I get into that, I wanted to go over some things about Agenda 21 here. Agenda 21 is a two-part deal, and I feel like these words that are thrown around, nobody really knows what they mean or inquires as to exactly what its authors mean by these words. Agenda 21 is a two-part deal. You've got sustainable development and economic prosperity, okay? According to its authors, the objective of sustainable development is to integrate economic, social, and environmental policies in order to achieve reduced consumption, social equality, and the preservation and restoration of biodiversity. Sustainabilists insist that every societal decision be based on environmental impact, focusing on three components: global land use, global education, and global population control and reduction. Economic prosperity. Public-private partnerships, PPP. Special dealings between government and certain chosen corporations which get tax breaks, grants, and the government's power of eminent domain to implement sustainable policy, government-sanctioned monopolies. Really? Well, it's really all right there, folks. You wonder how this is possible. Well, that's how it's possible, right there. Now, moving into some of the more day-to-day tactics that are used on a TI because of our friend here, Agenda 21. One of those tactics is street theater. Street theater plays a huge role in my life and is it's a way to further cement brainwashing. It's a way to agitate the TI. It's also a really good tool to help lay the groundwork of the next synthetic reality that's going to be presented to you down the line while your episode is going on currently. It's also a preparation for the next one that's going to be put on for you. And I like to use the word episode because that's exactly what it is. It is a skit that's being put on for you, a play. And while it's being put on, things are being said and acted out that don't mean anything right then in real time until the next episode. Something is alluded to it. And then the next one. So then by the, fourth or fifth, you don't really have to inquire too much about the workings of the program because you're now drawing your own conclusions, which is never a good idea, based on what perps have told you in the past and what they're telling you now. Oh, well, I remember this guy said this back then, and I didn't think he was anybody, but now it sure means something to me. Oh, I know this is fact now because the guy from the past said that one thing. That doesn't make it fact. Just because you have these, things that you think are coincidences that are confirming your reality, your synthetic reality. It's not a confirmation, it's just another magic trick that's helping you take the bait, helping you feel easier about taking the bait. Anyway, that is a reason why street theater plays a role, one of them. Street theater is exactly what it sounds like. It is a skit or a play on the street or in a store put on just for you. Maybe it's a customer in front of you, a complaining over the top customer that never engages with you at all in line, just holds you up or doesn't hold you up at all. And someone might ask, well, why does that have an effect on you? If it's not going to hold you up or affect you at all, why does that have an effect on you? Because once you're aware and allowed to be made known that street theater has been being played a huge role in your life, you are then questioning what's real and what's not real. Street theater, the number one goal is to execute your schizophrenia. It's inducing your schizophrenia, excuse me, and it's really hitting it home because it's causing you to question what's real and what's not real. Because the street theater is what's not real is taking place in the center with everything that's real going on around it. So it's all very confusing and kind of meshed together, and that's exactly what you would want to do with the mind if you were going to brainwash somebody. That's what drugs do to the mind. There's that line right down the middle, and it washes it kind of all together. So you don't know what's real, what's not real. Street theater. It can be neighbors' conversations. Maybe your neighbor's a gang stalker. I don't know. It's not unheard of. Having conversations about your life or threatening you through conversations that aren't even directed at you, perhaps. I also wanted to talk about one other thing. Gang stalking is a coast-to-coast program. TIs move from place to place to place. I know it seems like you can outrun it, but that's all part of your campaign too. They want you to think that so that you will pull up stakes, you will run, you will quit that job again and again and again. Even though the message is, we don't want you here, we don't want you here, we don't want you here. So you're like, fine, I'll go. Well, the next place you go, they don't want you here, they don't want you here, they don't want you here. What they're saying by we don't want you here is we don't want you living. We don't want you a part of this world and this society. That's why everywhere you move into this society, you are being told that we don't want you here. We don't want you here in this world. The world. So, it's a coast-to-coast program. Don't bother moving anywhere. Don't bother quitting your job. I know it's difficult to really try to hang on to your job. Try and hang on to your money. Try to keep your home. Don't move. It will find you wherever you go. I personally have moved from coast to coast, from near Los Angeles all the way to New York City. I had 2 confirmation episodes in California and a confirmation episode in New York, and a confirmation in the Northwest, and many, many places in between. So you cannot move from this. If you go to a small town, typically less gang stalking comes on foot. If you go to a large city, you get less on foot as well. But that doesn't mean that your program isn't still up and running. It just means that it doesn't need a lot of manpower because electronic harassment is running most of it. Beautiful. Now they don't even have to pay anybody, right? Except once some douchebag behind a desktop. Well, now why would they want you to move? What is that going to accomplish? Over time, it wears you down. It wears a person down. You have no feeling of personal space or property, a constant feeling of invasion that will inevitably break a person down, which is a good ingredient for suicide. Again, the message is we don't want you here. We don't want you in this world. So why wouldn't they just take you out? Well, sometimes they do, but it looks like an accident or a drug overdose, perhaps. But really what they want is they want you to commit suicide. It's very clean for them. There's no evidence. All these tactics that they do, you find it's very, very difficult to get evidence. The last thing these people want is exposure. That's why whenever you go public or you pull out your video camera, yes, the stalking gets very intense. It gets much worse because they're fighting back. You're at war. They are fighting back. And your video camera is your weapon, one of them. Another one of mine is meditation. Or not fighting at all, really. But your video camera is your weapon, and they're going to fight back at you. They're going to come and hit you even harder. And then I've noticed that it will die down after that, after some time. So, again, to find out what's ahead in the future for a TI, look to the past, look at the patterns of your events, even the dates. Those are all very, very relevant. I wouldn't suggest living into it too much, but you might have something there. Not necessarily in terms of avoidance, because these things can't be avoided, but just to know the ins and outs of your program, the workings of that. When you stand back and you look at it all as a whole, you can see it for what it is. And once you see it for what it is a control game, a mind game, and if you know somebody's playing mind games with you, well, then the jig is up. The game it's over, unless you choose to participate anyway, which again is why you need to be cleaning up your lifestyle. I need to be cleaning up my lifestyle. I have. Any TI should. You can't be leaving any loose ends whatsoever. One more thing I want to touch upon is, because I said lifestyle, now it's very difficult to get out and about and even do basic shopping as a targeted individual. It's important to really try and implement that anyway. I wouldn't go anywhere alone. I wouldn't drive alone. But if you can exercise, if you have a machine in your home or you have somebody that you can walk with, think about it. It is the greatest thing for the brain. It is so healthy for your mental state. And that is what we are at war with here. It's a mental, emotional, and physical assault on you. So you need to cleanse from within. meditation, exercise, diet, taking a multivitamin at least every day is going to be very, very important through this process. Cleansing, detoxing, especially if you have a drug program going as a part of your campaign and you're being poisoned. Chances are you're almost definitely being electronically harassed. That needs a regular detoxification process as well. And because what's going on inside your body, your internal organs, that's all being damaged. And anything that you can do, any little bit that you can do to repair that is going to be one more thing in your corner. And if you can stretch out your campaign and your survival of the campaign, maybe we can live to see the eradication of gang stalking. Some say it's going to take a few generations. I tend to think that we might not see the eradication of it in this lifetime, but we're going to see a large movement of awareness about it. And it's going to be a lot harder to gang stalk. Alright, folks, that's pretty much it for tonight. Please like, share, and please subscribe to my channel. Good luck and good night.